When I turned around 11 years old, that's when I began to run to food for comfort, and I would eat enormous amounts of food. By the time I was 13, I was well over 200 pounds. And then by the time I reached high school, I was in the 300s. At 21, I hit a major depression. By the time I was in my mid-20s, I stepped on a scale and was well over 445 pounds. At that point, I stopped weighing. Looking back on pictures of when I got my biggest, I was probably very close to topping out at 500 pounds. I couldn't even fit in women's clothes. I had to go to casual male, big and tall, and I remember my hips measuring out at 73 inches and me being horrified. The doctors had told me if I didn't lose weight that I probably wouldn't make it to be 30 years old. It just made me so sad. I did cut myself to try and alleviate some of the pain and the depression, and I just ate and ate and ate and ate to try and fill up this void in my heart, and I just felt like there was no hope.
My story goes way back. I was almost 11 pounds when I was born. I was always the biggest kid in my class from kindergarten up. Growing up was humiliating. I was not happy. I stayed indoors a lot, watched a lot of TV. Just got bigger and more sad and more depressed with life. I always grew up thinking that I was gonna be big because everyone around me was big in my family. And so I always thought this is the way it was just had to be, but something just didn't feel right about that. The pain and the humiliation of being overweight as a child hurt really bad. Spiritually, physically, and emotionally. When I turned 18, I didn't go to church at all. I didn't want anything to do with it. I had a lot of anger. I absolutely hated everyone. I didn't want to come into contact with strangers. I barely wanted to be around my friends. I was diagnosed as manic depressive and went monthly to a psychiatrist, and they tried to fine-tune, tried to get me to talk about what was wrong, and it was always I just talked about nothing, and it made no sense to me. And every month they would give me another prescription. My weight probably topped out at 550 pounds. I couldn't really weigh myself on any scale. I tried going to college, but I dropped out. Every day I was constantly getting high. I was doing illegal drugs. I was avoiding people. I would come in late at night to avoid my parents. There were a couple of times in life where I did have a gun in my mouth, and I was ready to end it all. I had no answers. I hated life. Marrying Maggie didn't do what I thought it was going to do. I thought it was going to bring me out of the gutter, out of my depression, but it honestly didn't. We were both miserable and headed towards a divorce.
We both worked on diets together to try and lose weight, but we were going nowhere. We were just getting heavier. Any diet that came out, I was willing to try it and spend whatever money it took to do it. Nothing ever worked for us, and then I found Weigh Down.
And immediately I saw Maggie change. She came home happy, she came home talking about God, she came home with a spring in her step, and I knew that something that she was being taught was something that I wanted, and something I had been looking for a long time. So I decided to just put this into practice. I decided to make the choice to do what was being said. And through that, weight started to pour off. And I started to trust, I started to love again. I started to develop a relationship with God and see that He could fill me up and not food, that nothing could fill me up. And I built this loving, trusting relationship with God that makes me want to go to Him even more every day. After taking a Weigh Down class, I'd lost 257 pounds in 18 months. I felt like a new person.
Through Weigh Down, God has removed 300 pounds of greed for food off my body. Once I found Weigh Down and God, started to take the weight off my body, He started to give me joy that I never knew that I could have. He gave me a relationship with Him that I could cry out to Him, I could pray to Him at any time during the day to help me with anything, that He really cared about every little detail of my life, not just the food, everything. And so with that, I just became a happier person. I was even told that I would never have children. And through losing all that weight through the Weigh Down workshop, we have 2 beautiful children that we've been blessed with.
And I'm so thankful for a new life, a truly new life through what I've learned in Weigh Down.
Maggie and Andy, any doubt in your mind that if you come back and visit us in 3 years, you'll still be the skinny selves you are today?
Good question.
No doubt in my mind. I know that I never have to fear gaining this weight back. I just had a baby and I gained 66 pounds and it's gone. And I have no fear of ever gaining that weight.
Andy, you think you'll be skinny also?
Oh, definitely, because it changed my whole aspect. It changed my lifestyle. You know, it's not something that you don't change the food. It's not, you get to finally enjoy good food, whereas every other diet we're on is reduced fat this, and you know that reduced the flavor too. So.
Well, Gwen, this is Maggie, Andy. Well, congratulations to you. First of all, so I read in the notes that you actually had a weight problem 20 years ago. That's hard to believe.
20 years, kept it all. Change focus, turn to God, it's the answer.
You can make the transfer. You can master this. If you've been good at worshiping the food, you can be great at worshiping God. The difference is get ready for happiness and joy to start filling your days. Get ready for the blessings.
I gotta say, I gotta sing, I am a happy human being. Let me say I am glad I found you. And every time I think I've failed, my ship has sailed. You got me nailed and it's good to